Michigan Tech beats Hillsdale 34-21 in a game where Alex Bono was great. He was absolutely fantastic in this game. He threw for 364 yards, 3 touchdowns. This offense for Michigan Tech just continues to go. They scored in every single quarter of this game. Like, they start out, you have Hillsdale come out right away, scores a touchdown, Michigan Tech responds right after that. And it was just through the air. Alex was also using his legs as well. This Michigan Tech offense is just so much fun to watch. And when you have a quarterback that can obviously throw but use his legs as well, that's really going to be a very difficult matchup. And that is exactly what happened in this one. You also had Jake Roof that also had 69 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. But you really have to talk about this receiving core for Michigan Tech. That's where they really excelled in this game. Ethan Champney, 119 yards. Bryce Kearns, 110 yards. Nick Nora, 106 yards. Each of those receivers had 6 catches or more. Nick Nora had 2 touchdowns in this game at 38 yards was his long. You also have Bryce with 29 yards, Ethan with 27 yards. This trio in this game was just absolutely dynamic. Like, they were getting open, they were making big plays, and when you have a quarterback that can get them the ball, like, this is going to be an offense that is going to be really, really tough to beat. And that's exactly what they were in this game. Obviously, 364 yards through the air, but they also were able to run for 159 yards on the ground. Now, obviously, that means that they're a little bit more successful through the air in this game. They only averaged 3.1 yards per carry on the ground, but that's still good enough where if you mix that with a pass game that you had in this game, it's going to be a really, really difficult matchup for a lot of these teams to face, and that's exactly what this Hillsdale team faced. Now, you have to look at what Hillsdale did in this game, and you really have to give credit to Colin McKernan. He did have a pretty solid game. Now, he did have 1 interception in this game, but he did throw for 2 touchdowns, 200 yards. They did get a little bit of help through the run game as well. Only had 100 yards total, so obviously not as successful as Michigan Tech. But then you also had really great performances from a guy like Ryan Sakura. He was the main wide receiver for this Hillsdale team. 2 touchdowns, 117 yards. Andrew Kaczynski had 1 touchdown, only 1 reception for 25 yards. But still, you love to necessarily see that, and you love to see Ryan Sakura have a 70-yard long catch in this game, like his longest play. So this was a game between 2 opponents that obviously they were both really fun. They were really good offensively, and you just really continue to see this Michigan Tech team continue to build momentum going from what they've seen this season. And it's really, really fun to watch because you have also guys like Dakota Blackwell that was really efficient in this game. You also have other guys like Chase Coach. He had 1 sack. You have just the whole team. I believe the whole team had 6 sacks in this game for Michigan Tech. So it's not just the offense that is doing great. It's the defense. The defense is getting pressure. They're forcing turnovers in this game. Like, this is a Michigan Tech team. I know I've just said this not too long ago, but this is a Michigan Tech team that is truly building something. And I truly think that this coaching staff has this Michigan Tech team playing with a ton of confidence. And I think you also have a Hillsdale team that has playmakers that are really making a difference on that team as well. You have a quarterback in Colin McKernan that I think is going to continue to evolve. I think you have a couple wide receivers, a couple of running backs that will continue to evolve for Hillsdale as well. I think both of these teams are going to be teams that are going to be pretty good this year. I think Michigan Tech is going to be right up there with the GLIAC. I truly think they're up there, even though preseason didn't necessarily have them up there. And I think this Hillsdale team is going to be better than they were last year. I think this Hillsdale team has enough offensively that they will be able to score quite a few points. And then also defensively, I didn't think Hillsdale was truly that bad. Now, if you look at what Hillsdale did regarding sacks, obviously they weren't as successful as Michigan Tech. They only had 1 sack in this game, but you have a Colin Morrow that had 11 tackles in this game. You also have a Jonah Jensen had 7 tackles. Gavin Chevney had 7 tackles. Like, there's still people that contributed on this Hillsdale team that are going to be key contributors for this team going forward. But obviously, one of these teams had to win, the other one obviously had to lose. But you really like seeing both of these teams continue to play well throughout this season. Obviously, Hillsdale, Michigan Tech not going to face each other again, 2 different conferences. But I truly think both of these teams are going to be really successful in their conference, and I think both of them have a really good quarterback that can use their legs. Colin McKernan did use his legs throughout this game as well. I think he had like 30 or 40 yards overall there. So love seeing a competitive game. Obviously, a 13-point win for Michigan Tech does look really good for them. I do think, obviously, turnovers does swing things a little bit, but 1 interception, not necessarily the biggest deal in this game. Do I think if he doesn't throw that interception, do I think this changes things? Probably not necessarily, but I think this Hillsdale team did fight in this game. I think you have to give them a ton of credit for that. I think this Michigan Tech team is just continuing to grow its confidence, and that's a really scary sight because when a team has confidence, especially at the start of the year, they're going to continue to get better. They're going to continue to grow, and I think you continue to see this Michigan Tech team do that every single game, and that's something that is going to have to continue to be watching out for because I think this Michigan Tech team is going to be right up there in the GLIAC. Maybe not necessarily number 1 or number 2 because obviously you have Ferris State and GVSU, but like I said in the GVSU recap, they just lost, and now you have Michigan Tech in the top 25 at 24 in the latest poll. So Michigan Tech getting a lot of love, absolutely deserve that. They've been really good. They're going to continue to be really good. I think Hillsdale will also respond after this as well and have a good season overall. But that's my thoughts on this game. Obviously, good win for Michigan Tech. I think Hillsdale will be completely fine going forward. I think both of these teams are going to be teams that are going to win a decent amount of games. One might be in a little bit of a tougher conference, slightly, but still, the GMAC, great conference. But I think there's going to be multiple teams in the GLIAC and the GMAC that are going to be making the playoffs. And I think rightfully so, because they have 2 great teams in this matchup, and they have multiple great teams in the conference. So definitely excited for that. Definitely we'll talk more about that when the season kind of continues on. But good win for Michigan Tech. I think Hillsdale will be completely fine, and hopefully you enjoyed this recap. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, share, let your friends, family know about it. Anyone a big Michigan Tech or Hillsdale fan, definitely we'll talk more about them in the future. But yeah, I appreciate you listening and tuning in to the next preview and recap that's coming later this week.